My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca Jorge, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Samas, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is João Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hello guys, so we're going to be watching João Fonseca take on Tomás Martin Etcheverry. Let me adjust the... that actually hasn't worked yet. I'm just adjusting the quality of my camera a little bit. Okay, it's good now. Obviously this is the opening round in Buenos Aires. This match was supposed to be yesterday, and we were also supposed to have a stream from that. But in the end, we didn't, because a lot of the day's play was just rained off, including the Diego Schwartzman retirement, last dance, whatever, and also João Fonseca's debut here, or rather first match, although I think it is a debut. I don't think he played at Buenos Aires last year. Either way, of course, this is quite big. João, since the Australian Open win over Rublev, hasn't won a match. He's only played twice, lost to Sonego in the second round there, obviously, and then also lost to Hugo Humbert in Davis Cup. That was indoors. He was really pressured, early in the points by the Frenchman. And, well, he could use a win today. I think by the bookies, he's like a slight underdog or something like... slight favorite or something like that, which I think is fair. Etcheverry obviously doesn't have the same sort of like quality in terms of the shots, but we know that he likes making it physical, likes grinding, and kind of is a very good player, especially against these inexperienced youngsters. So let's see. I mean, the first 2 points are just fabulous from Fonseca, and it's just too... I know that clean winners isn't exactly the right way to say it, because every winner is by definition clean. But when you see them like pure, maybe that's what I can say, just pure striking on the forehand side. I don't know if we're going to have the producer. So in the meantime, I'm also going to try to set up the score for you. Fonseca tries to go backhand line on the third point and misses it. I mean, right away, you can see that his attitude is obviously very, very aggressive here. And I also am enjoying how his strokes kind of just like seem to connect very well on this court in terms of the bounces and etc. Obviously, it's a clay court. It's a pretty usual South American clay court. We actually haven't seen him playing in these sort of conditions for a while now. I mean, Rio, obviously, last year he had a couple of amazing wins, so I don't think he's going to struggle. This is where he grew up. But it's been a while since last year he wasn't really prioritizing these events. I think maybe around March-ish would be his last South American appearance, but I would have to check that, to be honest, to be fair. It's a pretty nice backhand down the line here from Etcheverry. He saw his opportunity to strike, and he really swooped in smoothly. I should have the scores for you in a second. So just wait while I'll try to set this up. Hello, Jake. I know that you were excited to join the streams yesterday when you were when you were at work. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, we were unable to deliver due to the rain in Buenos Aires. But we are watching Fonseca today. Short return from Etcheverry, and Fonseca goes for this cheeky drop shot. To be honest with you, I thought he might have, underplayed it in this case, I suppose. I thought he might have gone a little bit too cheeky with it, but he actually ends up making it just barely over the net. In the meantime, while they are switching sides, I will probably be able to get the scores on the screen finally. I hope, at least. Yeah, should be on in about 10-15 seconds, I think. Here you go. Hope they are pretty clearly visible. We have two scores on the screen just because it's kind of okay here in the sense that we have enough space, but I might actually enlarge them just a tiny bit more. Let's see what that will do to the layout. Well, actually, it will switch to just Etcheverry Fonseca now, which I guess isn't bad, right? And we can remind ourselves that this is called Guillermo Vilas. All right, first game on the board for the young superstar from Brazil. I didn't use the term prodigy because just as I expect that Ghosty might show up during the stream, and he takes offense at that. So yeah, Etcheverry to serve. Of course, it's super like early days in this match. I'm not denying that, but I do kind of want to see how this goes because again, the purity of Fonseca's ball striking in the first game was quite impressive. So let's see if he can get an early advantage on the edge on Etch's serve. I will say this, like I think this is a pretty tough match for João, but if he pulls through, I like his chances to go on a run here. The golden swing can be a massive opportunity for him. It can also be where he actually loses points because obviously he made Rio quarters last year, so that's 100 he's going to be dropping, right? It's not that obvious. I mean, he might draw like Zverev in the opening round there, and then then who knows what happens. But yeah, it really could go both ways, I think, because of the fact that he is. Because of the fact that he is defending points and you never really know. Anyway, 15-all after a couple of returns, which were just he makes the return and he wins the point, he doesn't and he doesn't, but you can see that his return strategy is also going to be pretty aggressive here, especially the first return. He didn't really have that much time to run around, but he still tried, and on that occasion, it actually did work. Of course, the Diego Schwartzman retirement, or at least his last professional event, will start later today as well. This is going to be against Nicolas Jarry. He has a 4-2 head-to-head lead, but 2018 he won all of his matches, so it's kind of irrelevant now. But I do think he has a shot at the Chilean. Whereas here, Etcheverry, Fonseca, they're starting the day, and this is also definitely one of the best opening rounds of this very event. We also have Alexander Zverev competing in this one. It's the other half of the draw, so Zverev Fonseca or Zverev Etcheverry could only be a final. Zverev Etcheverry also a matchup with some history, of course, after the Roland Garros quarterfinal. Not that it was particularly close, but at least it was a Grand Slam quarterfinal. But of course, it's still far, far, far from that. Let's see how all these guys deal with the conditions, with the tournament, with the start of the clay season. First, for so many players here, it's the first event of the clay season. Of course, some of them played Rosario last week, including Sebastian Baez, but for many, many of them, this is the first clay match of the year, including Fonseca and Etcheverry, as both played Davis Cup indoors. Etcheverry actually pulled off a very important win over Budkov-Kier. Whereas, of course, Fonseca, as I mentioned earlier, he lost to Hugo Humbert, and Brazil ended up losing to France without getting a point. Well, 3 returns that weren't all that good, and now Etcheverry should be able to clean up the first game. Goes to the net, gives Fonseca some slight opening there on the forehand down the line pass, but that's going to be in the net. So, yeah, I mean, so far, just a couple of relatively routine holds for both guys. Fonseca's return quality was fluctuating. Etcheverry swooped in when he had these openings and is able to get on the board as well. Of course, it's their first meeting. Still not that many opportunities for Fonseca to compete against guys like this, and Etch has been playing, let's say 1-2 challengers a year every season for the last few years. So it's gonna be a lot of first matchups for Fonseca coming up. Oh my! I mean, yeah, just watch the first point of the third game and tell me the guy isn't ridiculous. Etcheverry doing his best to extend the point. solid grinding as usual, but there's not much he can do here, especially in these patterns when Fonseca is on the backhand corner and still, has enough time to hit off the forehand. And if he's going at Edge's backhand, like it's a bit of a mismatch then for sure. Fantastic inside and inside out combination. But now this big forehand crosscourt from Fonseca doesn't actually do the job. In fact, it kind of made things tricky because Etcheverry's answer was short. Still, he wins the point eventually. Etcheverry going for that loopy inside in there. Doesn't make it. Probably one of the best forehands inside in the world, Tomás. But certainly, I don't think he's set up for it well here. But yeah, I guess that's what Fonseca will be trying to do. Hit inside out at the Etcheverry backhand and then look for that kill to the forehand corner. Seems pretty realistic against someone like Etch, who of course wants to play in the backhand side himself. So you could argue that basically whoever gets to their inside out first will have a major advantage, as that's kind of like the main game plan for both players. Fonseca's backhand must be stronger than Etcheverry's though. And now another forehand winner for Fonseca. It's raining them so far. He's gonna hit them like twice every game, then at least on serve, then it's gonna be tough to break him. Jesus Christ, the pace is just insane. He actually overcooks the drop shot though. Once more, it was like such a massive shot at Etcheverry that Tomek could only barely get to it, and it actually became a little tricky. But it's still 40-15 for Fonseca. Kind of lives and dies by the forehand so far, but, well, that's what we expect, I suppose. Well, if you think I am, throwing out some praise, someone just texted on a group chat, you guys watching Fonseca, poetry in motion. I'm not going quite as far, but yeah, I mean, it's been a good start. He's just crushing that forehand. But 40-30 now. Sometimes that massive pace here is not doing all that much, like in terms of forcing the error from Etcheverry. Of course, Tomás is very, very good at just staying in the rally. And yeah, sometimes that 5th, 6th forehand from Fonseca is gonna go out. Let's see if he can clean up this game and avoid any unnecessary issues from 40 love. There was that drop shot, obviously, which did not pan out at all. It's a good serve at the body, but Etcheverry is in the point. Fonseca can't quite find that line opening. Throws in the forehand drop shot, and this time it's perfect. Very different position, obviously, than the one earlier. There are some Brazilian guys with every one of them has a different letter of Fonseca's surname, but 2 of them were like somewhere else, and basically they just had like Fosec or something like that. So yeah, that didn't quite work as intended on this very occasion, at least. Oh, and we have Vanch behind the backstage.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, John has been so excited about this match. I mean, basically the last 5 days. Basically, been 5 days ago, I did a preview with him for this.
I mean, that's not that's not John being excited for this one. It's just how many clicks Fonseca gets right now.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And by the way, Vanch, what a new look.
Yeah, I'm going all in on this. I'm going all in.
I like it more than John's, 80s speedo mustache. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm growing out the whole beard, and then I have a low fade haircut. So going for
a what haircut?
It's like a low fade.
Okay, I'm gonna Google that. I don't know haircuts, but I will find out in a moment.
I don't either, but I just wanted to try something different, so I went with a low fade. And I normally just get a regular cut, but I was like, I gotta do something to match the beard, and So
okay. Yeah, there's a lot of bearded people in Google Images when I said low fade haircuts. So it probably does go together pretty well. By the way, any opinion on what someone here in the chat said? Of course, we just had Noskova playing against Iga Świątek in Doha, and there's basically some calls about top 10, top 5, or just in general about the performance from her today.
Yeah, I mean, no, Noskova caused a lot of problems, especially how well she was serving. She had like 16 aces. It was her career high ace rate. And then yeah, from the baseline, you know, she was taking Iga's second serve super early. She has a really flat forehand, which can sometimes be a drawback for her, but also in this matchup, I mean, yeah, Iga was kind of it was very tense, like early part of the second set. You know, it looked kind of scary for her. And same thing in the third. She was down love 30, I think, at 4-3. So if Noskova breaks in that game, all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, it was really on the edge for Iga and her Doha streak. But as far as her potential, like I think top 10 is it seems pretty doable for her at some point. I don't know beyond that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it feels like she's already had a few breakthrough moments, you know, the final against Sabalenka in Australia and stuff, but like she hasn't had a full proper explosion yet. And we're still waiting for it to happen, and I think it will happen at some point in near future. But yeah, I mean, we are not used to seeing close Świątek matches in Doha, and the fact that the court is like pretty slow and bouncy, actually, Noskova just had so much time to like set up these powerful flat hits. The serving was fantastic, and I think especially in contrast with how vulnerable Iga's second serve is, like it even just stands out at some point. Just stands out even more.
Yeah, and that kick serve in those bouncy conditions, that doesn't bother Noskova at all. She's tall; she can just, you know, take that's kind of in her strike zone.
So yeah, I mean, it's a shame, as you said, for her that the love 30 game, like from that point, she doesn't really connect with any more returns. Maybe it's that one point at 40-30 where Iga once more has to like go down so low on her legs, but that's like otherwise, yeah, there were definitely a few missed opportunities there potentially. We are 2-all in Etcheverry Fonseca. Any early thoughts? I mean, before you joined, I was just talking about João, like on serve, hitting 2-3 forehand winners every game.
Yeah, if he's going to do that, it's going to be really hard to break him. And then the rest of his game is just more dynamic than Etcheverry's already. So,
kind of the return quality seems to be the main issue so far, and you know that's not really something out of the ordinary either. So like, yeah, the moment he finds a good return game, that's kind of what he's waiting for, and we'll see when that happens.
Yeah, of course, Etcheverry is going to be looking to hit a lot of forehands from the backhand corner and like use his inside out forehand and like basically try to spread the court. The only thing is, I think Fonseca's backhand quality is good enough that I think he can actually like he can get it to Etcheverry's backhand and he can neutralize the inside out forehands. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because it's still pretty early, so I don't really have any major takeaways yet. But you got to make Fonseca a slight favorite, I think.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you just said, I said before you joined the stream, to be honest, that like they both really like to play of the you know, the from the backhand corner with their forehands, but then again, it's not like a pure race to who gets there first, because Fonseca's like if there's a backhand to backhand rally, he's gonna be much better. In fact, he just wins a fabulous point where he is going with his backhand at the Etcheverry forehand, and he is the one who eventually gets an opening with the backhand line and takes it. And also, yeah, I mean, the in terms of being a slight favorite, I think that's perfectly fair. That's how it was for the bookies as well. And I would say that while we still have to be a little bit cautious, obviously, with Fonseca and kind of rating his chances, as probably Australia showed, you know, very well. Slight favorite seems right. And I do think that if he beats Etcheverry, he's probably going on a big run here. Etcheverry might be his toughest opponent for a few rounds there.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. Maybe I'm undermining Holger Rune a little bit. I guess I just don't believe in him at the moment.
Yeah, right now, I mean, if they play each other, Fonseca and Rune.
I don't think Rune is even getting through Navone, is he?
Oh yeah, that's already going to be a Like they already had a really epic match in Madrid, I think, last year.
Yep.
That was a hard-fought win by Ogre, but not convincing, really.
Definitely not. And while there were also some errors in this game from Fonseca, he does clean it up eventually. 3-2, big serve, throws in the drop shot there. But, like, whatever he does from that position is really going to result in him winning the point. Decent start, 3-2. I think someone yesterday, I honestly haven't watched too much Buenos Aires yet. Someone told me that, like, especially when maybe Carvalho Baena and Lajovic were playing, that the conditions were very tough to control for both players for some reason. I mean, it's not altitude, it's not like any unique conditions really. But today it doesn't really seem like it. Maybe there was some wind or whatever. I don't know. But like, yeah, it seems like Fonseca just has a lot of time to set up for the like pure ground strokes he has. And Etcheverry too. I mean, he is a very clean hitter too. Then yeah, seems like both players kind of can use the conditions to their advantage so far.
Yeah. Do you think Etcheverry can extend points enough to make it really physical, and then maybe see, Fonseca, how he is able to handle, I don't know, 2.5 hour match or something? Because most of his wins have been very, very decisive. Right?
Yeah, there was that great stat when the first match that went over 75 minutes this year was obviously against Rublev, and he still won it in straights. Maybe, but based on what I've seen so far in the first 19 minutes, I'm not sure this will be that physical.
Yeah, doesn't look like it. They've been playing at a pretty quick pace, and the points haven't really gone.
Diego Schwartzman, by the way, is watching this match. I just have him on my screen.
Yeah.
He's like a little in the background there. I'm not sure the TV crew even realized, but he was there.
Yeah. Last year, Etcheverry, this tournament ended really unfortunately for him, having to retire, I think.
Can you remind me who it was against? I don't know if I remember it.
I think he was playing against, oh god, I think I'm blanking as well. But it was somebody, I think maybe against Jari. I want to say it was Nicholas Jari, and
They have a very good rivalry. They've like played each other like 6 times at least, I think. So it's possible, yeah.
Yeah. And then he had to retire after the second set because I just remember seeing him retire. I forgot what the injury is. But...
Yeah, that's fair. I don't have the greatest memory of that, but yeah, he retired to Jari after the first 2 sets, and I guess his first 2 matches were very non-memorable, so that's why I probably don't remember. 2023 run, I definitely have some memories from. I think that was quite fun with the Nori match in the quarters, where, well, I guess after the first set he kind of went away, but it was still entertaining, and yeah. So much as well, like on return for Fonseca, this also isn't too physical because so many of these points are just like about his return 1-2 punches. And if it works, he's gonna win the point into 3 shots. And if it doesn't, he's gonna lose it into 3 shots. So
and it seems like he's having a really good look at clean returns that he can just tee off of right now. So yeah, he's really hitting the ball well. Like at this point at love 15, I mean, Etcheverry it's kind of this first serve is like just a point starter really against the quality of Fonseca's return.
it is, yeah. I mean, for his height, Etcheverry has to be one of the worst returners, one of the worst servers on tour.
Yeah, you can see already he's hit 11 winners, Fonseca, just 2 from Etcheverry.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, we see that the producer will be joining shortly in terms of his backstage role. Fonseca has that love 30 opportunity here, and maybe this is the game where he makes some sort of a push. Finally, we get a good shot of these guys with the Fonseca shirts, because earlier a couple of them were missing and it kind of didn't work out. Also, yeah, I mean, Swarna, obviously, you are right that she is not consistent enough for the top 10, but well, is Fonseca already famous in Brazil? I mean, in the tennis world, for sure. You can see what sort of numbers he's getting, even on this channel or like on Twitter and generally on social media. But we'd need a Brazilian, I guess, to answer that question in terms of just like, on the street, does a random person know João Fonseca? And that's something we can't really know. There's going to be a couple of breakpoints here, and Fonseca's hitting is just ridiculous so far. It's again like a flurry of winners that is leading him to this point. There was that forehand line, and now he finds a backhand cross court as well. You mentioned 11 earlier. I think by now it might be like 13 winners or something like that, and probably about 8-ish would be of the forehand, but there's also been a couple of very important backhand winners, which one of them gets him the break here, and he is going to be 4-2 up.
Wow, this is just a total flurry of winners from both sides. And it was the backhand of the line that set up the forehand. And then now, I think I'm 1 point behind, so I'm going to see what Fonseca does on the break point.
Yeah, probably like 4 points behind or 3 points behind. I'm
That's
trying
crazy.
now to make it a little bit more. Let's say I'm keeping myself from spoiling a bit too much.
Okay, I will probably just refresh and log out and see if I can.
Maybe it will help a little bit. I mean,
That's right.
Possibly. Thank you, Nurlan. I wish I could say that, but I'm probably not sick and tired of seeing you yet. Well, I haven't seen this game end yet, so I don't know. Maybe there's still a plot twist here, but like the last 3-4 minutes, I mean, the point.
The rate is like total points won, and winners total points would be like 60-70%. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the last few minutes, simply it's been a complete domination from Fonseca. He really I mean, as we said earlier, his serving has been good. Like the first strike after the serve has been great, so he's doing fine on his. And we were kind of just like waiting for that one return game where he connects with everything, and that's what happened. Well, I don't know what your opinion on these shots are, but mine is, yeah, I mean, I kind of love them. There's a very interesting shot that Fonseca cleans up the 5-2 game, the 4-2 game with. So after just 27 minutes, he is already pretty close to picking up the opening set. You mentioned that most of the Fonseca matches this year have been pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're on track yet. Etcheverry is kind of, a lot better than most of the opponents that Fonseca faced in these short encounters, but well, he has really sped things up now.
I don't know. Just the tempo that he's playing at right now. It's like you gotta find a way to slow him down, because not only is the ball coming off so cleanly off his strings, but it's just he's making it look easy so far.
Do you think Etcheverry even has any options to slow things down?
I don't know, honestly. I'm trying to see what else he could really do. Like this shot that Fonseca hits, that fake forehand drop shot. We've seen Alcaraz hit this. I don't know. His biggest weapon right now is the forehand, and it doesn't seem to be fearsome at all, because I don't know, Fonseca is just like the backhand on the line that he hits to then set up the next forehand, or his backhand quality is so good right now that it's just like for Etcheverry to have a really good shot, he needs to serve way better and serve much bigger and hit spots, which he doesn't really do. So Fonseca is really comfortable just with a deep return position, like just hitting it really heavy, getting into Etcheverry's backhand, just kind of setting up. Like most of these haven't even been like, it's not like he's building up the point and then hitting a winner. It's like the winner is coming on the third or fourth shot. Like it's a return +1 that he did like a flurry of return +1s to get the break. And then yeah, I mean his own serve, he's getting more free points. So right now he's kind of just dominating in every area. It wasn't like that until 2-all, but then from the 5th game onwards, it's been all João.
Yeah, it wasn't like that 2-all because he didn't have a game where like on return he's gonna be, on top of things and like just gets a better returning rhythm. But once he did, it just sort of like escalated so quickly. And I think, as you said, like he's just very comfortable so far in just all aspects, really. You can see that the ball of Etcheverry is just not doing that much damage to him. It's like all sitting up and maybe not waiting to be attacked, but definitely just like in the right hitting zone, in the right contact point with the conditions as well. And that's a great serve, 227 from Etcheverry right on the line. Of course, now his job is pretty much to make João serve for it. But yeah, to the question that I asked you a second ago, yeah, I'm just not sure these sort of like the ability to mix up, slow down the point. It's really in Etcheverry's game, so that's a problem.
I don't know. He doesn't really like change up the trajectory of his shots either. It's like very linear.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like we saw what Fonseca did to like the king of linear pace in the first round of the Australian Open.
I never thought of that. Rublev and Etcheverry comparison. Interesting.
I mean, it's just they both have a lot of linear pace.
I know.
And it's the main weapon.
I mean, you just mentioned spot serving, back to back 227 km/h aces. Like that's clearly a way that can help. That's clearly a way that Etcheverry can win the match in. By the way, I just got sidetracked because I saw Francisco Comesaña in the stands. Seems like a lot of players are watching this one.
Wow. Yeah, maybe they're already trying to do their scouting.
And they're also probably going to be watching Schwartzman Jari later.
Yeah.
Just since it might be Diego's last match. Well, I
I
mean,
think
3 aces right on the line this game from Etcheverry. Like that's exactly what he kind of needs right now. Of course, now the big question is how will Fonseca handle serving for the set?
Yeah, he finally had some really good spots in that game, and actually, forces Fonseca to serve it out. So that's good for him. But what do you think about Schwartzman against Jari? I think Schwartzman can actually make it pretty decently competitive.
Yeah, I think it's a close match. I do think it's a very close match. Diego in Rosario, he played pretty well against Ugo Carabelli. Obviously, Ugo Carabelli ended up winning the title. Yeah, he lost the set in every match, but I think the level was much better than what we were seeing throughout 2024. Seems like he trained pretty hard for this mini send-off. It's his hometown, it's his favorite event. The crowd is going to be wild. I think Jari, obviously, since Rome, he's been very vulnerable to the head-to-head. I don't really care that much about because it's also back in the past. But seems to me like Diego is ready to just give a decent performance in his last match. I would be very surprised if it's going to be like 6-4, 6-4 for no, okay, maybe that's a stretch, but like 6-3, 6-3 for Jari or something like that. I do think it's going to be a bit of a tough one. Is it the last match? Actually, I don't know, but like, yeah, seems to me like he actually will have a shot to win.
Okay.
Obviously, would be very nice for him to get a decent send-off.
Yeah, he won this title as well before.
Yeah, he made the finals 3 times. He won it. One of the 4 titles he won was here. Favorite event on the tour, hometown.
Yeah.
Could really use a nice performance to end it. Well, maybe this will be a little bit more interesting. There's that 15-all Fonseca forehand, which is probably the first time he didn't hit a clean shot this entire match. And like, the extent of it not being clean was pretty shocking too.
Yeah, finally didn't hit the middle and was kind of not in great position for it. So first real moment of jeopardy on serve 15-30. Look at that ace out wide. It's the line.
Nurlan, to your question about fan accounts, I have never blocked anyone on Twitter, so I definitely don't block them. Yeah, I just don't see them, I follow the people I follow, and I don't see the posts of fan accounts for the most part. But, I'm not saying I don't have any fan accounts in the accounts I follow, but yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't see these posts that you're referring to for the most part. And yeah, I've never blocked anybody, so.
So a couple of loose forehands for Fonseca in this game. One at 15 all and then one here 30 all. So
yeah, first breakpoint, first rear crack from Fonseca, and yeah, just a couple of pretty random errors that he wasn't making before. Everything seemed to be falling like so comfortably into his strokes.
Yeah.
Well, first test.
Wow, look at the way he responds. I mean, at first I thought, okay, the approach, he still got so much on it. It was relatively central, that swing volley, but still Etcheverry doesn't really have a ton of time to hit a clean pass. And the forehand down
Oh
the
yeah,
line
I
was
mean, it wasn't perfect, definitely not. But the entire point was pretty good anyway. Just after these two random errors, he finds a lot more margin here, kind of like plays it out, and sure, it could have been a little bit better, that's for sure. But yeah, still not enough for Etcheverry to find anything. So actually, two very good responses here, I guess, to the errors that we mentioned. So 15-30, of course, there was an ace, and now this point.
Our serve hasn't really been working this game as well, so he's having to really win these points. And wow, look at that second serve.
Yeah.
154, but oh my goodness. Why did it
find a little bit fortunate there, that's for sure.
Yeah. Very close to the line. Wow.
Pretty much directly on the line in the corner there.
But yeah, I'm sure that's something people have talked about, that from the next gen finals onwards, we've also seen him like play with a lot more margin. And wow, he's going to finish it with an inside-out winner on the forehand. Many winners in that set. I'm curious to see the stats.
Yeah, do we have stats like this at 250s? I guess maybe at this one we do. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we might not have that.
So I think sometimes, yeah, I think at 250s it's just that like very basic scoreboard. So I don't think we're gonna get that.
They do show it during the set, so I wonder why they can't.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, I'll check if it's on the ATP website maybe, since that's where we're showing the scores.
Oh, they do. Thank goodness, they do have the winners. 18 winners in that first set. 10 off the forehand, 5 on the backhand, 3 aces. So 18 out of...
Where do you have them, by the way?
18 out of 27. Oh yeah, I mean the tennis TV just flashed it up at the end of the first set. So.
Really?
Yeah. It didn't for you. We should be using the same feed. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be the same feed, but no, for some reason mine, I don't think mine had it. Interestingly.
It's 18 winners out of 27 points. Wow. So that's 2/3 that ratio.
Yeah. Actually, very interestingly, won 85% of his first serve points.
Yeah.
Which didn't really feel like it, to be honest, but yeah, the ATP also has just some basic stats, basically. 3 aces each. Well, it is what it is. After about 38 minutes, we are done with the opening set, so we are on track for that 75-minute mark. That's been the case
So,
for
yeah,
Fonseca most of the season.
I have two feeds. Like one is just like the main world feed, and then the other is like a stream without commentary. So I actually before, because I was so behind, I switched out of the world feed one, and I went to the one with no commentary, and I was like
Okay.
more in real time. I wonder if they don't show the stats in the world feed, but they show it at the end of the specific match one.
No idea. My feed does not seem to have these detailed stats, but that's okay. I mean, I can tell just from the eye test that he's hitting a lot of winners.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the numbers. Obviously, I'm not counting them. But there's this Polish journalist that works at Canal Plus, so they have WTA right now in Poland. John knows him from Stuttgart, and I know that he had every single especially IGA matches, but I think also some other ones. Like he literally is like noting down the winners, the unforced errors, and the type of winners and unforced errors too. I think it's a little well, I think it's very unnecessary, but if he wants to do it, why not? But it's like I don't know. Forehand volley is like F, and there's a small V. He posts pictures of that on Twitter sometimes. That's why I know.
Okay, it's some dedication. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go ahead, but I think the stats are a little too easily. Oh, actually, I mean, yeah, we have some issues with the stats in tennis, but again, if it helps him kind of talk about the match, he wasn't a tennis journalist until 5 years ago, so maybe
Okay.
even less. So I think maybe from that perspective, it's also helping him a little bit.
Etcheverry on second serve points won. I think he was at 33% or something, which feels right.
Yeah, 18 winners against 5. Thank you, Thalim. Thoughts on Tenerife? I mean, we'll see how Carreño Busta's physicality is. Obviously, Emil just lost to Barranco Cusano, so I guess that kind of leaves another favorite out. Let me just look at the draw. Huh?
15. He hit some decent inside out forehands, but then Fonseca finds some good width on the backhand, and Fonseca is basically having to cover his forehand corner, but he's so quick that he gets there, and then he just has the whole court to work with. It's a very
Yeah, Jake, I think looking at the draw, considering that Rusuvuori just went out, probably Carreño Busta is the favorite. Obviously, he got a walkover today as well, which could be really helpful when you're trying to go back to back. And he is playing your favorite Abdullah Shelby in the quarterfinals. No comment on that. I'm kind of kidding, but
he's got a little bit of Hans Jabor in him.
Yeah, definitely. Both Fernando Verdasco proteges at some point.
Hans Jabor, who's playing against Sofia Kenin right now, and just took the first set 6-3 in Doha.
Yeah, obviously she's in pretty amazing form. I kind of don't like admitting that because I think over the years I've probably been a little dismissive of her and the other way with Kinvan, but she kind of showed what real talent is to Zheng yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Wen has had a rough start to the year. She had an elbow injury, and then Australian. Now she's lost 2 matches in a row to crafty players in Siegmund and Jabor.
What's next? Tatiana Maria, Harmonitan, Maja Chwalińska. But yeah, very impressive form from Jabeur, definitely. I am pretty high on her this season, and well, she's delivering basically every week now. Let's see. I mean, this could obviously get pretty dicey for Etcheverry if he's not able to hold even in the opening game.
And yeah, Fonseca sensed his opportunity to come forward, and boy, did he close the net brilliantly on game point. And just seems like he has a lot of time right now to kind of and options to do what he likes. It's not really been on the back foot at any point. Like aside from a few cheap points on first serves, that's really kind of like Etcheverry just needs to win 3 points really with the serve. Because once they're getting into rallies.
Well, that was at 2-5. Yeah, that was the key at 2-5. And now these 3 points. Well, there was one, I guess.
Oh, I know this was like a net cord and there was a little bit of luck, but it's just like Fonseca basically hit such a powerful forehand from 10 feet behind the baseline. And then he just flattened it out as well.
Yeah, and we have that early break for João already at the start of the second. Well, there needs to be a quick reaction here from Etcheverry, and it still feels like the only time he had a shot here was when Fonseca made like 2 random errors on the forehand side. So
yeah,
it's not really like in his control very much.
Yeah. It's tough because he basically needs Joe's level to drop quite a bit to feel like it's a close match. So Nerlan has a question to you about Brendan Nakashima.
Let me see. What do I think is his main weakness? Return is horrible. I mean, obviously he has had some issues with the forehand technique. Got a bit better over the years, that's for sure. But I don't know if he, some players just aren't like made for the top 10, right? I think Brandon is a solid top 50 guy, probably. Of course, this season so far he's been awful, but maybe he wakes up from that in a moment. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Brandon has the caliber to be a top 10 player. Like, so some people just aren't cut out for this. Well, in fact, 99% of people aren't cut out for being top 10 in the world in tennis.
Yeah, for me, the return is a big problem right now. Like, he didn't get a single break point against Nishioka. And Nishioka had a good week and stuff, and some of these losses are 18 better than others. I'd say most of his losses since the US Open have been like, okay, if you're beating Brandon in the first round, you're usually either getting to the semis, finals, or winning. But yeah, the forehand sometimes he's cleaned it up. Like especially on clay last year, I thought it was very effective, and it was like he was actually able to hide the weakness very well. But it's just like his movement as well isn't like it's good, but it's not like elite. And the return is weakness, and the backhand is strong, but you're not going to win that many matches. He's not going to like win that many baseline rallies with it. So
we do have a twist here, by the way.
Yeah, we have another window here at 15:30 in second serve. Oh, and they're actually Etcheverry's forehand for the first time was able to cause some kind of a advantage for him. He had make Fonseca hit a running forehand the first time. And yeah, a few more missed first serves. So he's getting a few more looks here. See if we can capitalize on it. Oh, and he gets a double fault from João. So yeah, just a loose game from Fonseca already.
Yeah. Is this the second service game in a row that is pretty loose, or is this still different to the one where he was serving it out? I mean, kind of tough to say, but definitely, just not as clean as the first 7 were.
Yeah, because it was when he was serving for it at 5-3. So that's 2 in a row, yeah, where he's had to face a break point. So yeah, a little bit of a mini tip, but you still feel like in general it's still going his way. If Etcheverry is able to hold here at love or something, and we get another complicated service game for Fonseca, then we have a match.
We do have a match, but Etcheverry still needs to be cautious here. Beautiful back and down the line winner from Fonseca.
Yeah. He's not scared to also go into the Etcheverry forehand. Because he knows he has the backhand down the line and the inside in forehand. And he can play defense from behind the baseline. And he can do drop shots. He can do everything. There's a bit of fortune there for Fonseca. Just immediately put his hand up.
Yeah, it's like very, very close to the line. I mean, it's on the line, but yeah. Kind of on the verge of like whether you should say sorry or not.
Yeah.
That's a nice combination finally from Etcheverry, though. He did need a bit of luck as well on the last volley. I mean, it really shouldn't have been anywhere close to the net there with how far wide Fonseca was out of the court, but it could be crucial here as he gets that 30 all points. I mean, 15-30. Vanch's favorite learner Tien is match point up on Adam Walton.
Yeah, I actually haven't been watching this, but I knew he was down a break in the first set.
Yeah, I mean, not that easy, I guess, to beat someone like Walton with Lerner's playstyle, just because Walton is, another one of these like way too consistent players, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the quality gap is still pretty huge, I suppose. So let's see how he handles Arnaldi in the next round. That actually sounds pretty good for Lerner too, doesn't it?
I think he can win that match, honestly.
I mean, Arnaldi is just like hitting 50 unforced errors against any good defender recently. Not even recently. It's been going on for like a year. He just lost like this to, who was it last week? Munar. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, last week everybody was losing to Munar.
Also, yeah, Munar, quite a good progression in terms of his game style this year.
Was supposed to be in Buenos Aires here, but he pulled out, which is very understandable considering not much time to switch. We also have Hachanov and Medjedovic on the court now in Marseille. Pretty interesting match there. Hachanov was the leader in indoor wins on the ATP Tour last year, so Etcheverry needs a nasal strip.
I didn't know that about Hachanov. He had more than Sinner. Well, I guess Sinner had. Oh no, because Sinner only played Rotterdam, really, and then he didn't play Paris.
Sinner played Rotterdam in the ATP finals, and Paris he didn't. So yeah, I mean, percentage-wise, Sinner was clearly better indoors because he was. Well, actually, Sinner also had Davis Cup, so he had 13 wins and no losses, right?
Yeah.
Khachanov was 14-3, if memory serves right. He never lost before the semis at any event. But yeah, I mean, Sinner almost caught him. Sinner just didn't lose a match indoors last year, except it, yeah. Of course, you might also count the Six Kings Slam and
or any of the matches in the slams that were indoors. Then
yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not counting that. Nishioka withdrawing from Delray Beach, yeah, I saw that earlier. I mean, retirement in Dallas, withdrawal here. Not ideal.
The shoulder issue from last week that he had to retire from against Rude.
I don't know the accounts that we just saw on the screen, but well, seems to be very invested in Fonseca's performance. Kind of seems like a subdivision of the tennis letter. There's going to be a lot of the tennis something. The tennis podcast, I guess, is also one of them. The tennis podcast is just a subdivision of the tennis letter. You heard it here first.
The tennis podcast hasn't been tweeting lately. They've been on Blue Sky. They've left the platform.
I mean, that's my reaction to this. Well, of course, in the previous game, Etcheverry put himself in danger with that double fault at 30-30. He was able to get out of this, though. So for now, we are even in the second set, and I think the comment from that account is, it was true at the time. Now we're seeing some little cracks in the Fonseca performance. But for now, of course, he's still on serve in the second set, so he won't be crying about it. No, this is just my reaction to a forehand he tried to go at. He tried to go after it 40 love.
Holy hell.
Yeah, I think that the thing is that, like, these kind of shots on the TV angle, you can't really see where they are going to land. Like, you can see the sideways trajectory, like, whether it's going to be wide or not, but you can't see the depth. So, like, you could see that he's just, like, hammering it, but you weren't able to tell whether it's going to be in the, the court or not. And it was far from being in the court. What can I say, Vansh? I mean, the Argentinian Federation is sending me their direct feed. And I'm on Argentina VPN too. I am very gutted, though, about not getting to see Medjedovic Virtanen in the quarterfinals in Marseille. I mean, Hamad might still lose to Khachanov, and it won't happen anyway, but, like, yeah, Virtanen losing to Altmaier, it's a very classic Otto moment.
Yeah, finally gets that big win. Best win of his career, and then doesn't back it up.
Altmaier back-to-back quarterfinals indoors. How about that?
Yeah. He likes playing feasts. I think it's like a 3-3 head-to-head now.
Yeah. Gotta play pretty smart to beat him.
Others had a few more physical issues this year, though. Like at the Australian Open, and then also last week. He was struggling with something in the third set.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in Marseille as well, but he pulled out after the Rotterdam injury.
Yeah.
So yeah, things are not looking that bright so far for Fiends, mostly because of his physical state. Well, is this the game where Fonseca once more kind of just like, accelerates?
He's also hitting with a lot of net clearance. Like these shots he's not hitting them close to the line. They just have enough weight of shot, enough quality spin that it's like it just he sets himself up already so well for the next one. And then he's also very good at recognizing when to come forward. And like a lot of people compare him to Yannick, but I'm not even sure Yannick had that ability back then.
Well, I mean, it's still kind of like the most direct comparison, I guess, we have between him and like a top player right now.
Yeah, like a lot of the ball striking potential and all the
movement as well.
The way he moves, slides. It's very.
Either they were inspired by the same players, or Fonseca was heavily inspired by Sinner as well in the way that he was coached.
This transition game and the amount of options he has. I mean, that's more like an.
Well, yeah, I mean that obviously was not a part of Sinner's game until Beijing, really. So
yeah.
And yeah, that's why I've said, I think, many times on the show that to me he's like a very good mix of both Alcaraz and Sinner in terms of his playstyle. Whether he's going to be as good as them, we still don't know that. But, he might. The tools are there.
Yeah.
Gonna get himself another breakpoint here. I mean, Etcheverry will definitely regret this point a touch. I mean, Fonseca was like really struggling to get the return in play. Seems like Tomás should have a pretty easy, like not maybe kill with the forehand, but I don't know, just should have done much better than just shunking it completely, obviously.
So breakpoint is this kind of the time where Fonseca stamps his authority on the match. Okay, so unforced error on the backhand on breakpoint. Tomorrow we also have rematch of the Doha final from last year, Rybakina versus Swiatek. It's definitely kind of the big match of tomorrow.
Yeah, when you said that about the Doha final, I was thinking of like, how on earth are we gonna have Khachanov Menchik? But yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Quarterfinals already, huh? I mean, I wasn't looking at the draw too much, to be frank.
Yeah, the tournament started already on Saturday. And it's like they do the Saturday to Saturday. So
Have we ever seen an amateur who can slide well on a hard court? Probably not. I mean, I try to, but well, I'm not sure I do anything with a racket well. Not even stringing it or changing the grip. I can probably like swat flies or something. I don't know, but yeah, not really anything tennis related.
Jabor is up a set and a break now. On Kennen. Head-to-head between Kennen and Jabor. Surprisingly, 6-2 for Kennen.
Yeah, I kind of knew it was gonna be irrelevant for today, but I was shocked when I saw the head-to-head yesterday. That's for sure.
Yeah, of course, Kennen won their last match in Rome.
Yeah. So it's not like all in the past either, right?
Right. Of course, he beat Jabor, I think, in the quarters on route to the title in Australian Open in 2020. Tian has a question for you about quality off the ground between Opelka, Isner, Query, and Anderson.
Who? Yeah. I mean, the best one. Well, I think there's a big difference between the Opelka Isner half and then you have Query and Anderson. But obviously, Opelka, when he was emerging onto the tour, we just always said that, like, yeah, he's the best surfboard of the ground. That, like, compared to Isner, Karlovic, he's at a different level in terms of his athleticism, movement, and I think that's like still true. Query and Anderson were probably a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. Especially Kevin, I think, in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
He was really able to win a lot more baseline rallies and break serve more often. And
like they were heavily baseline players. Like some Query, if you have John Isner, Ivo Karlovic, they really need to be like at the net in order to do something. Opelka less so, obviously, but like, yeah, Query and Anderson, they were baseline players. Like they weren't even, especially Kevin, I don't think they were that good at the net.
Oh, the net, yeah, no.
So I think, yeah, in terms of your question, Query and Anderson are in a different league, but Opelka, out of the big guys, out of Isner, Karlovic, Opelka was definitely the best and is the best in terms of ground game. Petri Pericard is kind of someone who has arrived and could probably rival him, but then again, he's also a bit smaller than or shorter than Riley.
Petri Pericard, by the way, has to break serve more often. He's only broken serve twice this whole year.
How many matches has he played? I guess 4 in Brisbane, 1 in Australia.
5, maybe 6, 7. I don't know. Let's check.
1 at Davis Cup as well. Did he play in the indoor swing or did he just withdraw beforehand? I think he withdrew, so it's just 6 matches, right?
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, breaking twice in 6 matches is pretty shocking, huh?
There was that funny video where it was De Minaur and Feast in Rotterdam, and they were trying to guess based on the shot qualities who in the Rotterdam field it is, and they had these like cards and.
Yep.
This funny moment where Feast threw a little bit of shaded Pericard for the return. Because I think he was like 199 or something on tour. And then on the serve, he was like top 5.
Yeah, and Petri Pericard's numbers were just very low in anything besides the serve.
Yeah.
Somewhat to be expected, but still, I thought maybe like the forehand quality will be a touch better, but I guess the system just doesn't really like the, all pace, no spin, no angles, forehands. Yeah. I guess, that's not really what they favor there. Well, there were a few breakpoints in this game for Fonseca. Some of them he was setting up beautifully, especially that backhand down the line there, where he really had Etcheverry stretching for every single shot. But the Argentinian survives, to his credit. There was a great volley he hit breakpoint down, then he goes after his backhand line, which is pretty abnormal for him, but he manages to get through this. So let's see if this is kind of, he's going to be able to like mount up something from this.
He definitely upped his risk profile a little bit more in this game and played a little bit more out of his comfort zone, which is what he needs to do.
Yeah, it's probably like his main way of trying to win this match right now, yeah.
Yeah. Fonseca had a very good look, though, I must say. 30-40, he was stepping in. He put the point really well. Just missed the backhand in the net. That was his chance, but
Yeah, that was like the finishing shot there, definitely. Do we know why the Vukov ban is for 1 year only? I don't know if we have any opinions on that. I mean, can they just ban him for life over, well, not much?
yeah,
mean,
personally, I think it's good that the WTA did the investigation, and they found like concrete things from sources, and yeah, I think actually for a lot of people feared it came true. So
I'm a little more lukewarm on the whole thing. Like, if Rybakina says it's fine.
Well, what makes it complicated is that she has a seems to be like romantically.
Probably. I mean, we don't know it. We suspect it. And a lot of this is still like suspicions, conjecture, and well, we're basically going above Rybakina's head and telling her that you're not all right in this relationship, which maybe she's not. I'm just not really sure what gives us the right to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. I think mostly the people who did it, they are just like feeling really good about themselves right now, like they saved Rybakina from an abusive relationship, which might be true, but at the same time,
I don't know if they really did. He's still going to be around.
There needs to be a victim in order for it to be a crime, and yeah, I mean, if Rybakina says she's not a victim, I don't know. I think in the court, something like this would never pass. Because generally, like, yeah, again, in order for it to be a crime, in order for it to go to trial, there needs to be a victim. And if the victim says it's okay, unless it's like a really huge, like something, a felony of sorts, or I don't know.
But I also think with this kind of abuse, like you just might not know, it's happening and you won't be aware.
Yeah, but like in a way, we're going above her head, and it's weird. But well, apparently the WTA, obviously it's not functioning just like a legal case, so it's fine. Jerome Kim was quite rude. He is definitely a little tough to talk to. Yeah, I don't know if rude, but sometimes he just kind of like cuts off, let's say, and then yeah, it's pretty tough to, let's say, connect with him. So I'm not surprised. Maybe you got a feeling. As I said on the show, I was like kind of like thinking whether to even include this. It didn't really feel like the most necessary interview, but I figured why not. It wasn't quite Elias Zimmer or Thiago Seyboth-Wild, which I didn't end up running, so it's fine. He was a lot more pleasant though when I last talked to him. It was Poznan 23, I think. Also, I mean, a 2-set match can definitely be the match of the week. I don't think it's a blasphemy. In fact, I think sometimes we favor the 3-setters way too much. And yes, Warner, I was just using crimes as in like, conduct violations is as a synonym, I'm not saying it has to be a crime as in like it has to be serious enough for it to be considered a crime. But just like in general, again, a conduct violation to me has to have a victim of sorts. If we have like an audible obscenity, then that the victim is, I guess, the kids who could hear it and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, yeah, again, it's not really a topic I want to talk about anyway, so I don't know why I'm still talking about it. But the whole situation is just far less of a win, I think, than for like tennis and for Rybakina and stuff than a lot of people are treating it. Let's see how about this 3-all game. The previous one was pretty obvious for Fonseca. Maybe now he'll have more chances to strike. The Manama camera angles are horrible keen, but thankfully at least the main court is very good. I think last year or 2 years ago the main court was also just like from up there in the heavens, but I think now it's gotten a bit better. So at least as the week goes on, we're gonna have more action there on the main court with better camera angles. I guess that's more of the comments already responded to. Most of the comments. Also, Vansh, of course, there was a compliment for you about the beard.
Oh yeah, thank you, Jen. Yeah. So far, I've had positive reviews about the beard, so planning to keep it going.
Well, this is a game that might lead to something here for Fonseca.
Yeah, this is the game now for Joe, where he should be breaking here now from the 40.
Let's see if he can do that, though. There's a bit of a longer rally on the first break point, and he shanks a forehand at the very end of it. Oh, and as for your beard-centric channel, that's for sure. We do talk a lot about beards a lot. Where was I excited to see who pair was playing doubles with this weekend? No. I mean, I think of course it's one of these deals where like we'll give you a singles main draw wildcard if you play doubles with our guy too, right? So, and of course the Bahrain guy has been struggling in his singles appearances in Manama. Well, just one more breakpoint for Fonseca. So, well, as Vansh said, this should be the game for him, but it's not looking quite as obvious at the moment.
Yeah, so far he hasn't been very clinical when he's had the chances.
Second set especially.
He's still overall been the better player, but it just the gap isn't as big anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as the score is even, obviously. But I will kind of spoil it for you here and say that it will be even now. There's like a mid-length exchange, and it's the Etcheverry backhand which produces the error first. So just 2 holds away. This match is going to be longer than 75 minutes. We know that. But if Fonseca wins the next 2 games on serve, it might still be like shorter than 90. But let's see. I mean, obviously, the serving out the first set, it got a bit tricky.
Yeah, the 75 minutes thing I don't expect to last just because he's going to be facing much better players. But this to win this 6-3, 6-4 and still feel like, okay, I was definitely the better player is a very good sign for his prospects this week to go pretty deep. Of course, we're not there yet. He still has to hold serve twice, but now he's in command, and Ons Jabeur will serve for the match against Kenan, who plays in the quarterfinals. Ons has never played so well in the Middle East before this year, so.
Yeah, I think right now she's just like in one of these spots where she'd be playing well on anything.
Yeah, she looks very confident and happy and
finally healthy. Yeah, she's like really on a roll and making the most of it.
Yeah, played a very good match with Rebekina last week. Was up 4-2 in the third set tiebreak. But it was a very high quality encounter. It's the third set of that match.
Matthew, I knew you'd be watching Hamad against Karen. I will probably have to make up with the first set after this match is done. Maybe we'll see how the timing works out. But 6-2 first set Medjedovic would be quite something. Has Fonseca elevated into the sky with his arms wide like everyone's favorite from Nazareth? Kinda, in the first set, there were moments when he was definitely almost like Cristo Redemptor, or however the one is called in Rio de Janeiro. And did you guys see clips of competitive tennis being played on a beach surface that went viral? I did not, but maybe Vanj did.
I didn't see this, but I don't know. I think I scrolled on my timeline and I saw something, but I didn't click on it. So I'm not going to say I did.
Thanks for reminding me, Keen, that Kun and Polichak are playing. I was hoping for Nico to play Lille. I think he was on the list initially, but it's good to see that he's back, obviously for the umpteenth time. Doesn't seem to be doing that poorly either against Mili, which is a decent sign. Definitely not the most high-profile comeback in tennis this week. I mean, that's Akira Santillan. We all know that. Well, 2 holds away might soon be just 1 hold away. Fonseca seems to be in the driver's seat once more in this game. This is interesting. So there's gonna be like an exhibition at in Las Vegas, March 2nd. So I guess in the Netflix Slam, I guess, is kind of like the previous version of this. And it's gonna be an ace challenge between Riley Opelka and Giovanni Perica.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see how that works for an exhibition, to be honest. Like I understand the concept, Yeah, they are some of the best servers in the game, and you can see like the direct comparison between them. But at the same time, how are they going to like put on a show?
Well, speaking of exhibition, do you know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't.
The mixed doubles event during Fan Week,
Oh no, I forgot about this.
the US Open, which was announced yesterday.
I mean, it's
And
complete
we had a lot
BS.
of doubles players against it, rightfully so. Especially Andrea Vavasori and Sarah Irani, who won the mixed doubles last year, but also Eduardo Roger Vaslano, seen on Twitter. And
I mean, if you do this, you just have to be aware of the consequences, and the consequences are that there's no US Open mixed doubles slam anymore. This is not a Grand Slam title. This is not a real event anymore. Honestly, like if you want to just scratch mixed doubles off the surface, I'm not going to be like completely against it. I think it's obviously not watched by anybody. It kind of just serves the purpose of maintaining, the finances, I guess, of the doubles players and tradition. But at least do it like in a full measure. This is just turning this into an exhibition. You could literally just keep the mixed doubles event as it is and do this as an exhibition. Just don't call it a Grand Slam title.
Yeah, at least I will say that they're not going to do the whole event in that format. At least I think the semis and the finals will be, proper scoring and that.
The final is only 6 games, but who cares? Like it's still 8 pairs in the draw.
At the same time, though, if we actually get out of our bubble, how many people watch the mixed doubles final? Like, how many people actually care though? Like,
nobody.
Right. So, like, that's kind of the thing. Like, it's not really getting the attention.
Yeah, but then eliminate it completely or something. I don't know. Like, don't do this, which is
Because
you
right
can't
now,
just
like,
make an event like this and pretend that this is a coveted Grand Slam title, as they are saying.
It's not. It's not. I definitely think it's not going to be. It should not be viewed the same thing as, like, I don't know, winning Wimbledon.
Definitely
right?
not.
Years. Like, it's not the same. Like, historically, I don't think. Hopefully, people don't equate them, because it's not. It's not at all winning a mixed doubles. But like for the tournament, from a tournament standpoint and like money standpoint, it could be good. Like I think more people will tune in that wouldn't normally.
It's possible. I mean, again, it could be a success because they're hoping for a lot of top singles players to show up, and like that's the success or not of this event. Like the entry list will determine whether this is a success or not. But anyway, like you're destroying a Grand Slam event. If you want to destroy it and just get rid of mixed doubles completely, I don't know, go for it. But don't pretend that this is this is a Grand Slam title. It's not.
And Bavasori and Irani won't be able to play it, right?
I mean, they might get a wild card. In fact, I think they will if they ask for it.
But will they? Like when there's going to be, I don't know. Like if
they might be the qualifying as well, which could make the scheduling very tough for them. It's on like Tuesday, Wednesday during the qualifying, I think so.
So it's complicated, but yeah. I don't know if you saw what Taylor Fritz said about it. He said he loves the idea. Because he and
Pegula are basically the players that this is designed for.
Yeah, but at the same time, he said he did acknowledge that it sucks for the doubles players.
It's like the players that would want a light warm up during that week, and that's literally it. So
it's basically it reminds me a little bit of tiebreak tens at Indian Wells. Only this is the Grand Slam. I think, because wasn't it like last year, like Badosa and Tsitsipas won like $1 million? I forgot. They won a lot of money for winning that tiebreak tens exhibition. I forgot the amount, but it was literally almost as much as winning the whole title at Indian Wells. So at least $1 million.
Well, will he even have to serve it out is now becoming progressively more and more the question.
Oh, well, match point now. So I should probably pay attention to this second serve. Well, John and I were both wrong in our predictions. I gave Etcheverry a set. And John gave Fonseca a set. Oh. And he finishes it off with a flurry, with a inside-out forehand winner. Clears the sideline by a lot, and well, this was very dominant. Although I will say, 3-2 up, Etcheverry was in the second set. Fonseca had that backhand line that he missed in the net, but there was never any doubt. There was never really any flicker or any other opening, and nothing Etcheverry could really do that would hurt João in this matchup. So it was very much Fonseca highlight show again, and it continues. I don't know how many minutes this was, 85 minutes, I think. But at this point, what do we think about Fonseca's chances the rest of the week? Spend time to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said at the beginning of the stream that this is the tough one, and if he gets through that, I think he's gonna go on a run. So it wasn't even that tough.
Yeah. It was not. He's going to play against Korea next. And you would expect him to win that one too. Especially the way he's playing right now. It will be very interesting if he does play Runa in the quarterfinals.
We'll get a much clearer idea. Korea?
Korea, yeah.
That's an Alcaraz 2020 reference right there. Rio, but still Golden Swing.
Yeah, the match after he beat Albert Ramos Vinolas. He played against Federico Coria. So yeah, that's kind of his draw right now. Coria and then either Navone or Runa. And then Baez or Tabilo are the seeds with Siwaj, Vilch, and Jere. That section as well. But honestly, if he plays as well as he's been playing, you kind of make him, you kind of like his chances to get to the final even.
Yep.
So pretty dominant, 6-3, 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, it's as good a start as really I think you could hope for here. Vansh, I think you said at the Australian Open that Fonseca is going to win 2 Golden Swing events.
I did, but I didn't know that Alexander Zverev was in the draw at that time.
I
And
mean,
I
it could
didn't
be.
know. I didn't know, but at the same time, I don't think it changes it too much. Like if he's in the final, and he's playing Zverev, Zverev might not get to the final. So, I don't think it changes it too much.
Yeah, I mean it's looking great for him right now. I honestly, if you tell me now that he's gonna win this event, I won't say no. Like he is one of
Yeah.
the favorites, and today's win is obviously already pushing him kinda in that conversation. Rune in the quarters right now just seems like it would be a 50-50 match at least. Maybe Korea is gonna provide a curveball just like he did to Alcaraz in 2020, but this is really what we have right now. I mean, Sinner and Alcaraz won't take part. No, definitely not. In the mixed doubles. What else was there? Because we also, the producer also asked us to make a quick preview of Świątek Rybakina, so we will do that. Just let me see if there were any comments in the meantime. Is it true that after seeing Berrettini shoot in underwear with balls, you tried to replicate the same thing and started taking photos of yourself on the sofa? Nurlan. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. What else?
Oh, the imagination and the mind to come up with something that specific. Gotta applaud.
All right, so yeah, Świątek Rybakina then. The head-to-head is on the screen. Of course, we had just had them playing at the United Cup. This is technically a better court for Świątek, for sure. Then again, last year, their final was quite competitive. I think with Rybakina, we just have her playing back consistently right now after the second half of last season. I still don't know if she's like, 100% in terms of her level, her fitness, but she is doing pretty well. So it's not like it's going to be, a situation where we are kind of like afraid that she's not going to be able to deliver at least a good performance. I think we're not there really. So, yeah, I'm just expecting a bit of a classic. Noskova today, she kind of showed that Iga might be vulnerable a little bit, especially if you can just like slam second serve returns, which kind of comes back as a topic for Świątek from time to time. But yeah, the United Cup performance, we've kind of talked about it a lot, right? That at some point Iga makes a great tactical adjustment there when Rybakina is serving for the set, and from that point onwards, it's actually looked like a pretty repeatable strategy to like start moving her around and work the angles very well. She wasn't able to do it at all against Noskova today, though. So I don't know where that puts her. But, it's one of her favorite courts in the world. She has to be like at least a slight favorite.
Yeah, I think slight favorite is just about right. I'm still expecting a close match. This is by no means one where you go in and you're like confident that Iga's going to win it, And so, and yeah, Rybakina today won her match in straights. Iga, bit of a tougher fight, and yeah, the return of serve. I wonder if Iga will make some kind of adjustment, even take like half a step back on that, because she's very stubborn about it in terms of her return position. We'll see if that comes into play. I mean, Noskova was hitting spots superbly. She had this amazing first serve rhythm that lasted, basically the whole match. And yeah, Elena Rybakina has shown a pretty high level. I agree. She's been a bit more up and down now than we're used to, like this time last year. So that's maybe something you can take advantage of. And yeah, we have seen some of the new things that Facet has already tried to bring in Iga's game. So I definitely see this being pretty tight. I don't see it not being close. But yeah, I make Iga a slight favorite based on the conditions and the fact that she just beat Rybakina well last year, and also in a very tight match, and then also at United Cup mainly. So
yeah, February to April last year, you're obviously right that like Świątek and Rybakina were the two best players on the planet. Then Sabalenka had that like lull, and yeah, right now it doesn't really feel like they have that much of an edge, but they're obviously still up there. It's kind of tough to say like who's really there at the moment, since Sabalenka and Goff both lost early. So we probably will know kind of like more going forward, but they're still definitely up there. They're still up there among the top 5, at least in terms of the level. And yeah, should be a very entertaining clash. I think it's definitely one of my favorite matchups on the circuit. Sometimes it can get a little bit too serve +1 heavy, like in Stuttgart. Like that was not as entertaining. But at the same time, like on this court, I don't think we're really going to go there. And last year, the first set of the final was excellent. Of course, there was that double break lead for Rybakina. She gets hurt a little bit there, like there's some bleeding on the leg, but it only really provides like a momentum swing in the sense that there was a timeout. It's not like that, she was injured and she stopped playing well or something like that. Definitely not. But it did kind of slow her down a little bit, and after that, Iga takes over with a great performance there. Probably one of the best 2-set matches of last season, especially if maybe that second set was just a tiny bit tighter. So yeah, the expectations are high for sure. It's kind of wild that they're meeting in the quarters of an event, honestly, because we've been used to both of them being part of the top 4. Of course, Rybakina isn't there anymore, but if she can just like keep winning, as much as she is, then obviously second half of the year, she could really just like easily get back into that top 4. So I think it's possible that by year end, we're not really going to see them meeting at stages like this anymore. Would you say that this is a final already, like sort of a mini final of this event? It's probably a little bit too much, but like the winner of this is going to be the favorite to take the title, right?
They will, but there's still Ostapenko lurking around in the quarters, and that's not a pleasant matchup at all for you guys. We know. There's still, Ons Jabeur, who's playing well, although Iga, it's more manageable for her, of course. And then on the top half, you still have Alexandrova. I mean, typically Alexandrova has been the type of player who, has one of these really big wins, but then you still don't really back her to like go all the way and win the title. But she's playing against Pegula. Like this is like if Swiatek wins this, I mean, she's basically gonna have to avenge most of her hardcourt slam losses in this 1 week. So it's still like good conditions for her, but she doesn't go into these matches like like guaranteed to win, like heavy favorite even after Rybakina. So I don't think it's a wait and see situation, but I do think she's gonna have to play better than she did today, because today like she found a way through. She was gritty, and that it was kind of like more of her Billie Jean King Cup type performances rather than.
And we're not used to seeing that in Doha, because since the opening round in 22, she was pretty much spotless here. Nurlan, if you didn't see any tactical change from Iga from when she was down, when Rybakina was serving for the set in the first set of the United Cup match, I think you should get off the drugs. What else? I mean, should be really fun. I had one more thing that I wanted to say, but now I don't remember what it was. So basically, that's me. Oh yeah, no, I know what I wanted to say. Give me Świątek Ostapenko. I so want to see more of these matches. Whatever happens. I mean, I just want to see if this can be maintained by Jelena somehow.
Yeah, they've only played twice since the start of 2022, and one was before the 37-match win streak. So like Ostapenko like isn't really consistent, so she doesn't really meet very often.
Yeah, there's a lot of tournaments when we're like thinking, oh, so yeah, Ostapenko is a potential semi-final opponent for Iga, or like this is a player that she has to avoid in her draw, but she barely makes it there. And obviously, you're right that since the win streak, since the explosion, we've only had one match. Although that one performance just before the win streak, it was like literally just before the win streak, the last loss. So kinda counts, kinda. And also it was in Dubai, but
So the final, I mean, honestly, the top 8 lineup looks pretty exciting overall. As you do have Jabeur and Ostapenko, which is a nice contrast. You do have still stacked to draw, but yeah, it would be really funny if she goes 5-0 against Iga and she's 0-5 against Azarenka. Like that's just hilarious. The most Ostapenko thing ever.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely quite something, and there's a lot of numbers that support what you see with your eyes as well. That she is a unique player, and well, I'd love to see that kind of like thrown at Iga again. Not that Ostapenko Rybakina wouldn't be entertaining, and of course Ons Jabeur is by no means right now an easy win for Jelena either. So yeah, should be an exciting rest of the event. I think we pretty much covered the preview for Świątek and Rybakina. Time to go watch Hamad Medjedovic try to close this out against Karen Khachanov. I know that Matthew is probably already there. I think he was up a set and a break, not anymore. Let's see if he can keep his nerve just as well as João Fonseca did when he had some minor setbacks today. 6-3, 6-3 over Tomás Martin Etcheverry. couldn't really like think of a better golden swing kickoff for him. Yeah, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Vansh. Not a long stream, but like with Fonseca at this point, we kind of expected.
Yeah, not a long one for sure, but also one more thing I'll add. While you watch Medvedev Echano, you should also pay attention to Jari and Diego Schwartzman, because El Peque, possibly last match of his career. It's been a very successful career for him. And yeah, hopefully he gets to go out with the flowers and excellent memories that he deserves.
Yeah, hopefully the send-off will be grande for El Peque. For now, that's it from us. And yeah, see you guys some other time.
See ya.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.